All right, welcome to another edition of Sama, Seattle Sacred Music and Art. We're in Seattle, but obviously we are literally all over the world. Tonight, we're going to be in one of my favorite cities in the United States of America, New Orleans. We're going to be interviewing a relatively new artist that I've been following for a little bit. We had a chat earlier today, and I'm really, really stoked to be able to share this artist with you. The artist, his name is Ife. It was founded by a Puerto Rican, now New Orleans-based African-American producer and percussionist Oturo Moon. Ife is a futuristic live electronic music project bringing elements of Afro-Cuban folklore and Yoruban music with the bass-driven sounds of Jamaican dancehall, trap, and Afrobeat and Afrobeats. Ife's 2017 debut album, Ahe Ogbe, revolutionized the way electronic music was conceived and performed, seamlessly combining the intricacies of Afro-Caribbean percussion and song with the power of modern electronica, played in real time without DJs or programming. A groundbreaking reimagination of ancient diaspora music and movement, Ife's music explores the higher frequencies while paying keen attention to the lower ones in a way that feel equal parts riot and ritual. And the sophomore album, is slated for release in spring 2021. And right now, coming to you live from New Orleans, Moon. Welcome to Sama.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, brother.
Let's kick it right now to the first song. This is Three Mujeres.
Okay.
All right, let's kick it. That was perfect. That is exactly what we need right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oturamon, this
Yeah, man.
band is Ife. Three Mujeres is the name of the track. And as soon as it kicked in, I was like, tears. I was like, oh, God.
Oh, wow, that's so cool,
I
man.
need to see this live. I need to actually explore this. It's like, it was not just you. It's like, which is beautiful, but it's just like, that needs to be played live. You need to have an audience. You need to, like, feel that. It's a beautiful video, and I'm getting all verklempt right now, so I apologize. Let me introduce myself. I'm Darek Mazzone. This is Sama, Seattle Sacred Music and Art. We're doing a weekly live stream of artists that play within the sacred music space, definitely past, present, and future. And this is very much future. I'm here with Otura Moon, the producer, the founder of the band. He's now living in New Orleans. He was in Puerto Rico, and now he's back in the United States sharing this music, sharing this culture. And for me personally, this is sacred music. Because when you say sacred music, people go like, church music? What are we talking about here? This music turns a nightclub into a venue, into a sacred space. I'm so jazzed that you bring that lighter back out again, please. And like, we need that. We need that. We need that fire. We need that energy right now, especially in the world that we're living right now. Thank you for offering that blessing. Amun, tell me how the band, the idea. Tell me your story because it's it's a fascinating one because this ancient Santeria and Yoruba music, Afro-Caribbean music. This is in many ways it's thousands and thousands of years old, but you're putting it through a filter with the movement and the music that's changing this generation and generation beyond it. Please share.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose a longer story, but I'll try and keep it super short if possible. I just said that, so here we go. I mean, so I grew up in Indiana, right? So born and raised in Indiana. I studied at the University of North Texas. So when I was 18, I went to the South, and I was there until about 1997. And then I took a vacation to Puerto Rico. It was the first time I'd been anywhere in Latin America. And as an African American coming to a Latin American country, the culture shock was just huge. And I sort of came in contact with a new culture, new language, and new music. And a couple years later, I decided, there's nothing stopping me from living that life and seeing what that is in a living day-to-day experience. So I picked up in 1999 and moved to Puerto Rico. I was DJing at the time to sort of make a living. And so I sort of got into the music scene really quickly because I didn't need to talk to DJ. It was just get to the club, play the records, and I was really good at it. And if I didn't DJ, I wasn't going to eat, so I was super motivated too. So I ended up gigging 5 nights a week, got into the music scene in Old San Juan, and just sort of, joined, the musical conversation there.
What was the culture? What was the culture? I want you to finish, but I'm curious because you said you discovered the music, you discovered a language. You weren't speaking Spanish when you got there, so this is a really fascinating story. But I would love if you could and finish your story. But I would love for you to tell me the community because there's something about that Latin America and the community that it's very different. Puerto Rico is part of the United States, part of. But it's what it is, what people are who are from there, that living there. There's a community there. Please speak to that if you can. But tell me how you went from gigging 5 nights a week. I know what that's like, and it's not an easy life. It's exhausting, and that's the way you make your money. So you're like DJing, but you're also looking at the door because it's like who comes in is going to pay you. I know the story. How did that evolve into producing?
Well, again, I moved when I was 24, so I was doing what I wanted to do. I wanted to learn Spanish. I felt that if I could learn that language, I would be building a cultural bridge that I'd be able to cross later on in life, and that was important to me. So I was doing that. I wanted to get away from the racial caste system of the mainland United States, and I succeeded in that. But Puerto Rico also has institutional racism. They're just less aware of it. And less, but being African American, you sniff it out from the get-go, but it moves in a different way there. So, I was where I wanted to be. The gigging 5 nights a week was cool. It was 24 hours. I was having fun, I was touring with a group called Cultura Profética, which is a Spanish language reggae group that's from there. I was a hip hop DJ and a dancehall DJ, and it was when dancehall was still in the vocabulary of hip hop. Especially in New York hip hop, which is where Puerto Rico took its cues. So you could play both of those genres, but Puerto Rico had its own genre called reggaeton that had basically jacked some of the elements of hip hop and a lot of the elements of dancehall and basically made their own genre. And so there was a bit of I was playing for people that liked hip hop, but were probably bilingual or had family in New York and knew about New York hip hop that way, So it was kind of a strange mix of the hood and sort of middle class bilingual communities. And so, yeah, I mean, it was just, it's the kind of job I think that only could have happened in Puerto Rico, where you just go and start getting English music to a crowd that's going to support that,
Got it. But how did that go from that to the Ife? Because that's an interesting journey from playing hip hop and reggae even to what you're doing now.
I mean, I moved there in '99, and when I DJ'd a party for somebody that hired me to go to St. Thomas to DJ for the Millennium. So it was me, another DJ from Puerto Rico, and then a group of rumberos from Puerto Rico that were playing Cuban rumba, and then he hired like a West African drummer and dancer, and we were all on a boat that went between St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John's. And the party was kind of a flop, but we were all on the boat, and there was just tons of liquor, and we were all playing music. We had a great time, and we all stayed in the same hotel room, right? So the Puerto Ricans that were playing rumba were also santeros, or a lot of them were, and they were singing and playing bata in Yoruba. And the West African drummer and dancer were also Yoruban and had never seen that before. And I was African American, and I'd never seen it before. Although I had studied Ewe music when I was in Texas, so I knew like some of the rhythms they were playing, or something similar to them. But I'd never seen like, you know, Latin American people speaking in Yoruba or singing, and like the way, like seeing the Nigerian react to it said it all, you know. So as an African American who felt that I was sort of robbed of culture and robbed of religion, to see my neighbors have it like in their hands was just really powerful to me. So I saw that in '99 when I moved. But I was also someone that felt that religion was a form of control. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't willing to submit to that. But I saw the power of it. So I was sort of like, I'm going to come back to that maybe someday. Okay. And in 2012, I had sort of like finished producing a bunch of projects and didn't have anything else on my plate. And I packed up everything and I was ready to move from Puerto Rico. And I traveled anywhere. Okay. And I traveled in the States a little bit for maybe like 3 months. And then I came back and realized, like, look, I still have some unfinished business here. And one of the things that I wanted to do was learn how to play Cuban rumba. But it's sort of like saying that you want to learn how to dance ballet, or you want to become a jazz pianist or something. Like, you're going to have to lock yourself in the room for like a few years. Yeah. And that's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did, man. So I got a teacher and I locked myself in my house for about 2 years.
You get specific, and it seems that you're not following a path that most people follow, like Indiana, North Texas, and you're having these experiences, and it just feels like you found your community, but that community doesn't have to be just like people. You're finding your community in ancient and modern stylings. It's an interesting. You're presenting a really interesting story through this music right now, and it's and a thing that made me really intrigued is that it is music that is alive right now. You're not recreating something that is like, you're not singing about your shack in Cuba. You know, it's like it feels like one of those moments where, and I'll go into this because I'm going to play a song because we're going to get a lot to talk about. Like one of those moments where the power of the religious, spiritual, shall we say, ceremony moved you in such a way that that is the power that feels like it could be the thing that could lead all of us as a species into the future. Like we, you know, for a long time we were like, whatever, like Marxists were like, oh, religion, all that, done. We're not dealing with that. But it feels like, now, wait a second, there's a closer connection. Because with this belief system, it's an ancient belief system. It's tied to environment. It's tied to, like, you know, I'm not an expert or anything, but I know that there's a relationship with nature. There's a relationship with each other. It's not about, you know, I don't want to, how do I say this exactly? It's not so wrapped up in, it's now, here, the moment. What are we doing here right now? It's not like, once you're past, then everything will be beautiful for you, like in some of these Abrahamic religions where, don't think about it right now.
I think a good point for you would be that it's also about the past. So one of the key elements here is that my ancestors won't rest until they are honored.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So
perfect.
Here in this culture, you know, we can do something bad and we feel like, well, I mean, you know, it's just me here, you know, like, but no. So they need recognition, and they need your honor, and they need you to do the right thing. So as you're not only doing the right thing for the people around you, you're doing the right thing for everyone that came before you.
Okay, perfect. Right? On that note, let me hear. So tell me about this song I'm about to play, "Music for a Goon," Movement 3. Tell me how that plays.
So in a nutshell, what I did here was I took the ceremonial music that you will play in a ritual when we're playing drum ceremonies that are possession ceremonies called toques de tambor, right? So in a ceremony, we as practitioners have an opportunity to literally play and have the deities possess followers so that we can communicate with the deities directly, right? So 3 drummers are going to play to bring deities to the ground, to possess followers, to have communication with those followers. And we play a pattern and sing songs for many different deities. There's a section in the ceremony where we sing for the dead or for the ancestors. And I took the songs from that section and I took them and played them pretty much exactly like they're played, but I made drums that were electronic that could play notes in the scale as opposed to being atonal. So now you're going to hear those same drum conversations, but harmonically talking to each other and using frequencies that would be impossible to reach without electronic music. In this song, I added one intro verse that's in English that's really talking about you can hear your ancestors. Like, just listen to them. They're talking to you right now. So what you think you may have lost is right here. It's in the room with you. Just listen. And so I kind of say something like that at the beginning in English. And then the rest of it is almost as is ceremonial. Okay. And you're going to hear the lead drum is talking in all the low frequencies. So if you got headphones, put them on. Or if you got a bassy system, turn it up. Because it's kind of like a rock song with a bass player that's just going, ah.
Perfect. And the timing for such a song couldn't be better. Okay. On Sama, Seattle Sacred Music and Art, Ife. The band is Ife. Otura Moon is here with me right now. This is Sama Cielo Sacred Music and Art. That was beautiful. Who's the singer with you?
So that's a woman named Lavoski. Yeah, man, I started working with Lavoski at the beginning of 2019. It was going to be kind of the first time that she went on the road with us. And then, you know, the zombie apocalypse kicked off in March and everything was canceled. So she lived really close in the same neighborhood I was living in. And actually had me on life support because Lavoski was basically delivering groceries to me every 2 weeks. And yeah, man, she's an amazing singer, man. And it was really cool to do these performances with her because she's such an agile singer and I'm not much of a singer, that it really sort of like pushed me to get to places that I wasn't able to get to before. And yeah, man, she's amazing.
Where is she living in NOLA with you, or she's based?
No, she's in. I mean, I just got to know her like 2 months ago, so she's still in PR, but she'll be out here in a couple months. So
okay, yeah. Cool. I'm looking forward to catch you guys live. I mean, the whole intention behind Sama is live shows. We can't do this because of COVID, but there's a lot of discovery, and this is beautiful. I want to thank Paul actually for putting us together. Okay, so I want to go back to community. So you got to Puerto Rico, and you couldn't speak the language. It's a whole new culture. It's a Latin American city, a Latin American country. You're in Old San Juan. It has a history. It has its own, you know, everything from reggaeton, which has become a global force, to the music and cuisine and identity of that place. And you go in, not speaking the language, so you created something out of it. So you're part of that community. Tell me how you found that community. How did these people become part of your I can't say more than your crew. It's more than that. You're part of your tribe.
I mean, I don't know. I was interested in the place and the people, and you know, the more I was there, it seemed like they were interested in me. You know, and I definitely like understood at a certain point that like if I wasn't going to be making music or art, that I had to leave because there wasn't a reason for me to be there, right? So that was the reason for me to be there, was to take my influences, which only I have, and cut them against what they have going on to be able to make something unique, you know, and that's all I have to offer. And so if I wasn't doing that and I wasn't making that sort of offering or creating something in that context, then I had to leave. Like I'm a big Ralph Lauren fan, right? So the idea of like being like, oh no, I'm gonna stop playing music, I'm gonna get a job at the Polo store, and I'm gonna, you know, like that just can't happen.
That's not your path. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, yeah. I lived there for 21 years, man. You know, I'm from Indiana. I lived there for 18. So I'd been in Puerto Rico for 21 years, brother.
Okay.
You know, I know it more than I know any place else.
That's your home.
It knows me. So.
We could start a whole other conversation about that, because Puerto Rico, it's an interesting time in this country right now. You know, and the energy, what we can learn from the people of Puerto Rico, how they can help the people of the rest of the people of the United States, the rest of humanity. There's so much beautiful knowledge in these. I'm not saying small as in like they're large places, but like in these places that people would just like overlook. Like they're not huge. They're not making a gigantic global impact. But the fact that they're.
May I say two things real quick?
Yeah.
I think one thing that the American mainland people have to learn from Puerto Rico is that the fact that they don't know much about Puerto Rico is uniquely tied to the other fact, which is they are directly oppressing the people of Puerto Rico through a colonial system. So the people of Puerto Rico have something to teach Americans about the resilience of a people who are oppressed by a people who don't even know they exist.
Yeah, no, I know, and but you know, you are now living in the United States, so this music and what you're offering is teaching, and hopefully that will continue. So through this music, people will learn more about Puerto Rico. People will have a sense of some kind of kinship or identity with that. They can see through their humanity, which is the other thing that I've been focusing on with Sama since its inception, and also with my work at KEXP. You know, it's like we're there to bring a sense of humanity to these artists, because it's so easy to just go, oh, that's from Africa, oh, that's just Latin, oh, that's someplace else. Sure. It's like, no, these are people. They're making art. They're like, give them as much of your attention. And learn from them as you would anybody else, because if you do that, then it opens up your heart. And then as soon as you open up your heart, then everything is possible. Sure. If your heart's closed, nothing is possible. But if your heart's open, then we're in a whole other space. So you're in Puerto Rico. You've been there for, it's now your language. And when did you start dreaming in Spanish?
I don't know, man. I know that within like a year, I could have a conversation. Mm-hmm. And I also, I don't know about dreaming, but like I was a quick learner, but I was totally submersed, man. I mean, I don't even know how to like I'm a skateboarder, right? And so I would skate like when I was there, like, I don't know, 6 hours a day or something. And so most of the kids I skate with didn't speak any English. And so my first year was a lot of just keeping my mouth shut and listening to people.
And listening. It's a movie. Yeah. What a magical story to be able to share that. Okay, so let's hear another song. And then we'll talk a little bit more about how you're surviving, and more importantly, what the future could be. Ife, on Sama. Lavoski. She's got
Lavoski.
pipes. She's got pipes.
Yeah, man. No, she's incredible, man. That's like a star that fell out of the sky, man.
In Puerto
Yeah,
Rico.
she's incredible. Yeah, man. I think maybe she's been there like 2 years
Okay.
now. We met really, I think maybe within 6 months of the time she got there, and just became friends. And yeah, man, I was really excited to go on the road with her, and I still am. Like once things get back to normal, we're gonna go out there and
Yeah.
party people. So
No.
I'm ready.
We need that. We need that. So how are you surviving? This is like the elephant in the room. It's just like you're a musician. You made this record before COVID, so it's like I'm always curious. Two part. One is like how you dealing, knowing that once the vaccine kicks in and everything, the doors are going to be open. Everybody's like, please. It's like I'm getting verklempt again, but it's like every club, every like I can set up a bar right now in my house, and I could have 150 people in here.
Yeah, you're gonna
instantly.
sell
It's
it
like,
out. You're gonna sell it out of it.
please, like anything. So to be ready for that in a context of as an artist, but also how you surviving now, and how does this reality play in what you'll be doing with this in the future, in like the near future, like let's say summer, like winter 2021.
Okay,
You're out,
so
you're playing.
I'm gonna try and I'll do it super quick if I can. I think I'm surviving because I'm blessed, man.
Right on.
I've been blessed, brother. That's all there is to it. My heroes are like Huey Newton, Oscar Lopez, people that have done like years in solitary confinement. And so the idea of being shut up in my house with the internet, a fridge full of food, a library full of books, a studio, I'm gonna be all right.
Okay.
Yeah. Now on the other end of that, like I have my health. I have like challenges to that, but I have it, and I've been careful. My family has their health, so how am I doing? Good. Like we made it so far. I'm surviving by basically selling records. So I printed up an EP which you heard one track of, which is music for Ego Movement 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's an EP called The Living Dead. So I'm selling that. If you go to Ife's Bandcamp page, we're selling that one. I have my own record label called Discos Ifa. I pressed another record that I made 8 years ago for an artist, it's a reggae rock artist named Young Rago. So I pressed that. And then I started like a fictitious store called Ghost Town Mini Mart. That's like a store that's existed in my mind for a couple of years, but I never had the name. And so the name just sort of dawned on me 3 months ago. And I copped the URL, started making things for it. And like between Ghost Town Mini Mart and the record label, and then just crazy things that'll come out of like, I scored a film. Like that was not on the radar for me at all. Like, and so I got a film offer that was great, like a bunch of just random things. So I just feel like I'm blessed, and that's why is I've been supported by the deities that are with me, and I've not been allowed to fall.
Perfect.
I'm thankful for that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. So you're presenting a music with a story. You're presenting performance. You've got, it's you're bringing a culture with these songs. And the reason why we had you on Sama is that we're focusing on sacred music, and this music creates that space where people are transcendent or transformed, not in a way where it's like the angels have come and taken me away. It's much more, it's, I can't even speak to it, but it's you're there with your ancestors, you're there with your tribe, you're there with your people, you're there with, even in that moment at that club, like one of those things. As soon as that your first song Three Mujeres came out, I was like, this is one of those, I can swear, one of those fucking songs where everybody instantly falls in love in the club with everybody else in the club, with the band, with the person singing next to each other. You know what I'm talking about? It's like for that moment. And sometimes it's the next song or the third song. Even as a DJ, you can make that happen. And sometimes it's a perfect set. So you've got that. As soon as I heard it, it's like, why am I tearing up? This is this thing.
That's great.
I want you to speak to that a little bit, because it's not like you're coming in there as like bragging or like, a pyrotechnic crazy show. It's like, wow, this is a spectacular. It's like there's a deeper message here. There's something here that you're presenting. I think I could be wrong. You can say no, it's not it. But I'm leaving it open to you. That tell me what you're bringing with this to everybody else now, before we go into the next song.
the name of the group is everything, right? So I was a producer playing hip hop before, and I used to use source material to like make music. And when I knew I wanted to make this solo project, I went to visual source material, and I saw a photo from Life magazine that I really liked that I had on my images on my computer. And I was meditating on the image, and I noticed that the logo is red and white, which are the colors of Shango in the religion. And Shango is the owner of music and dance. So right there, I was like, ooh, Shango's got a message for me. And I was looking at the logo, and then I realized if you lopped off the L, you got Ife. And the word Ife in the Yoruba language, it means love, but it also means expansion. And that was it. I wanted to make a music that communicated love and expansion. So the whole point of the entire project is to make that thing that you described happen. Right, because the music is about conveying love and expansion. The most important record to me ever recorded was John Coltrane's "A Love Supreme," and I wanted to also make a music that was intellectually sophisticated on the level of bebop, but now in modern times. And instead of trying to learn how to play bebop, because I feel that the genre is dead, I dedicated my time to learn how to play rumba because it was in my neighborhood. And it was interesting to me, and I was already a drummer, and I could probably fast track it. And so I took a few years to learn how to play that, which is a very complicated conversation, to be able to break it apart and do what I wanted to do with it in modern music. I used modern sounds and not old school sounds so that it would fall directly into the year that it was released sonically, and so that we could do new things with the framework itself. At the same time I was conceptualizing the group, I was initiating into a Yoruba-based religion that some people colloquially call Santeria. So I was doing both of them at the same time, but they weren't meant to necessarily go together. They were the two things that were most important to me in life, right? Finding out about the indivisible world, Finding out about the invisible world was of the highest importance, because I felt I had the physical world under control. And then the other thing was making the highest expression creatively that was humanly possible for me. And those were the two tasks. And at some point in time, they started talking to each other. And so Ife is a music that's based off of a Yoruba word that is expressing something that's universal, which is love. That's not religious, that's universal. And expansion, which is also what John Coltrane was trying to reach for in his music. So, I don't think that I'm on that level right now, but like my favorite song from John is Spiritual. I don't know if you know that song from him.
Oh, yeah.
Live Village Vanguard, like that one does it. And if I can ever make something that communicates on that level, then I'm doing the right things, And so I think part of what makes Ife's music pull people in a way that they can't even really understand is the fact that there's prayer so baked into the music that like it's just going to work on you. Because there are prayers that are thousands of years old, and they've worked on people for a long time. And they're in the music. You might not recognize them as prayer, but that's what they are. And also, the drums are also praying. So in the way that Western people might think that prayer can only be in words, Africans knew that the prayer could also be spoken through drums. So it's working on several different levels that are probably imperceptible to people, but you can feel it. And I think that's what you're getting from the music. So I tried to build a house that has many different entrances, and there's like, let's say the ground floor has like 6 entrances, but there's floors to this thing, and you might be totally content on the first floor, but there's like, maybe 8 of them. And depending on how much you know about what I'm doing, there's a conversation that can be had on several different levels. And jazz is a lot like that. You don't need to know jazz harmony to enjoy a Parker record, but if you know what Parker's doing, then you can follow it on a level that other people cannot.
This is perfect answer. Thank you. The next track is a cover. Why this cover?
Well, when I was learning to play the drums, my dad was a meter reader for the gas company for like, I don't know, 30 plus years or something. Might be before. He's watching and he was like, hey, there's 45. I don't know. But, he gave me like his old cassette tape. So he would walk around like 8 or 9 hours a day and listen to music. And he would give me the tapes that he was done with. And at one point he gave me Stevie Winwood's Back in the High Life. And that same year, I took my first drum set lesson. and I started learning how to play drums. And I remember the first time I got in a drum set, the guy put on Higher Love, and he showed me how to play that song, right? So it's been like an important song for me for a long time. But when I heard it after I initiated to become a Babalao, before I did that initiation, I was crowned in Oshun, and Oshun is my main deity. And so I was listening to the words, and the words were like, just hit me in a different way, you know? And I felt like that would be a great tune to sing for Oshun. And so I just reworked it and put it into like a rumba clave. And so we start off singing the Stevie Winwood tune, and then we finish with a series of prayers for Oshun.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so this is an homage to
Yep.
your deity. Perfect. Ife, on Sama.
Think about it, there must be higher love down in the heart and in the stars above. Without it, life is wasted time. Look inside your heart, I'll look inside of mine. Things look so bad everywhere in this whole world. What's fair? Try to see, falling behind in what could be. Maya, Worlds are turning, and we're hanging on, facing our fears, standing out there alone. Oh, we're yearning, and it's real for me. There must be someone who's feeling for me. Things look so bad everywhere in this whole world. What's fair? We walk blind misere, misere. Ara misere, misere, oh. Ara misere, misere. Ara misere, misere, oh. Ara misere, misere. Ara misere, misere, oh. Ara misere, misere. Ya lo de. Ya lo de.
Ife on Sama. That was perfect. It was like I couldn't script the show. It's like where what this is just absolutely perfect.
Wow, man.
What a way to close it. Um Oturamun, this is beautiful, massive success. I
Thanks so much for having me.
can't wait to have you here. Can't wait for you to. This is fire. I'm so glad you did that lighter effect. It's like let's. This is fire. This is beautiful. I want to continue sharing this music and telling this story. This is quite a blessing for the holiday season. The new record's coming out later on in the spring. But, it's an interesting time to present new records, shall we say? Unless you're gigantic and you just stream it, so it's a different kind of world. We'll be talking about it and putting it out there, and there'll be more of this. So I'm going to say bye right now. Hold on a little bit. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank STG. I want to thank End Live in Bamako. I want to thank Glitterbeat. I want to thank Venita, April, and Dagmara. I'm Darek Mazzone. This is Sama Seattle Sacred Music and Art. We are a full-on concert. Will happen. And you want to say something?
I would be remiss if I didn't thank Anna Matazuski and Teo and all the folks that helped me to work on a video actually for this new EP, The Living Dead. A whole crew of wonderful dancers, and Anna is a choreographer, all Seattle-based. They put together an entire production, and then my guy Ferdy in Puerto Rico. So yeah, Seattle's been like
in your orbit. Okay,
yeah.
I want to know more about this crew too, because we're it's a big town, but it's a small town. Everybody knows each other. When we used to go out, we don't go out. So we're any kind of connection like that. You're gonna make a lot of people very happy. Thank you for doing what you do. Stay healthy, stay strong.
You too.
And continue. Sama, Seattle Sacred Music and Art, and huge shout out to Magabo and Rio for this beautiful outro.